The two main areas that I'm going to focus on today are the investment funding as well as the knowledge transfer and utilisation, which I've actually highlighted here in the value chain. So what this is basically showing is an internal lens of how the Smart Water Fund sees our business and the steps that we have to actually go through for our projects. So first up is valuation and evaluation. So it's looking at the value of the projects that are coming to us, where the value is back to the water industry and the utilities, making sure that we understand that up front before we even start considering what the investment will be in that project. We then look at step 2, which is the investment, developing a business case, also outlining knowledge transfer and utilisation of activities. We need to know up front what the outcomes of this project is going to be and then how those outcomes can be implemented. My role at the Smart Water Fund is Knowledge Transfer Manager. It's a fairly new role. I've been in the role for 2 years, and it was brought in because the projects that we're investing in, they're all good and well for where it happened. So say on a sporting ground, for example, we had a project that was saving water. The knowledge actually didn't get shared. It didn't actually go anywhere. So the idea is that we implement the knowledge transfer and utilisation strategy up front in the project. We can then work through the project and then have the outcomes ready to be delivered right at the end. What used to happen is the contract managers would come to me after even a 3-year project. They literally walk up to me with a final report and say, "Here you go, you can go and do something with it." I didn't know anything about the project, what it was about, who we'd been working with, any of the stakeholders. So the idea is that we actually start this up front, work through stage 3, which is the contract management, make sure we understand what that knowledge transfer and utilisation is, and then work towards those outcomes in the end. So this just gives you an idea of the investment themes that we work across. We work across 8 investment themes: water quality, water efficiency, which are the themes that we've been working in a lot over the last 8 to 10 years. We're now starting to branch out into a lot more themes: water smart cities, intelligent networks, resource recovery, climate change, new market solutions and customer insights, because the market's ever changing in the water industry. You know, in Victoria we've had a drought, within Australia we've had a drought, and so that's where most of our focus has been. Things are changing now, so we have to move with the times as well. So crowdsourcing generates 100 ideas. You select the 50 best ideas, generates 100 more ideas, selects 50, and so on until the crowd that you've actually got together can come down to a couple of ideas, and you've brought in a whole lot of people with a whole lot of different expertise. You're not necessarily making workshops, you're not necessarily taking up the time that you had to before, and you're getting a whole lot of other input into these ideas. People want their projects funded. We're a fund, we have the money, they want to be talking to us. So we looked at a couple of online idea management options. The first option that we looked at was commercially available options. We looked at a couple. Now obviously there's some pros with this. You know, it's established software, they know that it works, they know what the bugs are, they're already ironed out. There's many functions available, and it can work quite well as an idea generation portal. People put on ideas. Oh, what about this? What do you think about that? People can talk about it. The cons: cost. Very large initial cost. We only get $5 million a year. We're supposed to put $3 million of that directly into projects. Doesn't leave us with a lot of play money just to spend on this as one aspect of the fund. Functionality is not always useful or applicable. I've said a pro that there's many functions available. Sometimes there's too many. We looked at one particular one that actually allowed for users to use it as an online betting system as well, and you could have poker chips and you could kind of play that way, and we kind of thought it's not really the direction that we're looking to go. We just want people to talk about ideas and create new thoughts. Sometimes they can be weak for portfolio management principles, but the big thing for us as well, minimum of 1,000 users to work in some of the cases. That's a lot of people. We were going to start with maybe 5 people from each utility. I don't know if we'll ever reach 1,000, to be honest. We'll get a couple of hundred, but to get 1,000 straight up and working just wasn't an option for us. So we went down the route of purpose-built. Lower cost, initial and ongoing, greater control over required functionality. We can get it to do whatever we need it to do. We can make changes to the software over time, and no minimum number of users are required. We can build it to what we need it to do. The difficult part is knowing what you want, building a system that you know is actually going to work. And of course, as always with IT and other projects, it may take actually longer to build than you anticipated in the first place. So this is it. This is what TIM actually looks like. This is what when you first log in. This is the home page. You'll actually notice I've greyed out some bits. That's been done on purpose just for confidentiality reasons of the projects that are in there and that are live. So you can see across the top the portals or the tabs, I guess, and it shows you each of the stages of our process. The projects that then get voted the highest then move into the IRC portal. Now the IRC is our Investment Review Committee. They're a group of representatives from the utilities that actually decide on which projects will be recommended to go to the board for funding. So once they go into the IRC portal, our IRC can easily click on one button. It's easy for them to find the projects. So I'll just quickly take you through how each of these portals actually looks. This is the My Dashboard. This shows when you log in, you can actually see the groups that you belong to. You can see that I belong just to the test organisation, the Common Portal and Approved Projects portal as well. This is the Common Portal. You'll see they actually start looking quite similar. The same idea, you have the title and summary and the stars on the side. IRC portal's the next one, again looks the same, but it'll list different projects depending on the stage at which that project's at. So the outcomes from this over the last 12 months have been really exciting. As I said, we've already had a lot of positive feedback. The collaboration and cross-utility interaction is increasing. It's incredible to watch these people from different utilities actually start talking to each other and start sharing ideas with each other. It's something that we haven't really encouraged a lot of before, but they're finding that they do have different problems that can be solved in similar ways, or again they can have similar problems that they can help each other with as well. So if I just quickly go back to the value chain, the investment is basically what I've just covered with the TIM. So that's bringing projects into the fund. Where do we get that information from, and how do we get people to talk about their projects? What I want to do, skip past the contract management side. So that's just around people at the Smart Water Fund managing the contracts, making sure the project's on track, getting it to its outcome, right through to knowledge transfer and utilisation. So what I'm trying to show is basically the holistic view of how the fund works and how our project investments work, that it's not just about the project life, but it's about that whole investment. So knowledge transfer is defined as the sharing of the project outcomes. It's kind of the softer side. It's kind of like me talking to you today, sharing project outcomes. It's going to seminars, it's papers, people going to conferences, that kind of thing, workshops as well. That's the knowledge transfer. It's just the sharing of information. Knowledge utilisation is kind of the harder stuff, the stuff that requires a lot more work, but it's the most important stuff. It's about the implementation of the project outcomes. It's making sure that, as I said, the utilities actually uptake the outcomes that are coming out of these projects. It's being implemented into their business, and we can see a return on investment. That return might be energy savings, water savings, environmental benefits, customer benefits. It could be a whole range of things, but we need to make sure that utilisation is actually happening. So in conclusion, structured facilitation via the online portal is a very efficient way. We found it very efficient, very effective of getting broader engagement, getting different people to talk to each other, but also increasing collaboration as well, getting people to share their ideas and help each other out along the way. Momentum and encouragement of users is required for any crowdsourcing system to work. You can't just throw it out there and say, off you go. Go and do it. It doesn't work that way. We still talk to them. It's no reason to actually stop talking to our stakeholders. We still have to have meetings. We still need to talk to them. We still have to interact with them all the time. So it's not an excuse to stop doing that kind of thing. TIM itself has allowed people and users to become quickly engaged within the projects. They can mature their project scopes so that they're at a level that when they get to the board, they're approved, they're just about ready to go. And TIM has been well received by the water utilities. They do believe it's a welcome change to the system that we were using, that brainstorming system, rather than the crowdsourcing that we've now put in. So overall, it's been an exciting challenge, and we're starting to reap the benefits, but there's still more work to come. Thank you.